Ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing tonight? This is the Club of the Man 1993. I am here live on this Saturday evening to discuss AEW's TBS debut of AEW Dynamite. It took place this past Wednesday, January 5th, 2022. Happy New Year, everybody. Of course, as this is, I believe, my first stream of the new year. Yes, I think the last stuff I uploaded was on New Year's Eve. I think, actually, believe it or not, was it New Year's Eve or was it? I can't remember. But it's definitely the first live stream though of the new year. So good to see you all. Hopefully, your 2022 is starting off good so far. Unfortunately, with the rise of the numbers lately, of course, we're obviously starting a little bit off on a rough note. Give it a few weeks. I think things will settle down because flu season is going away. But it's just nasty. But so tonight I do plan on doing a lot again. And I've been doing a lot of content lately because I've had a little bit more time. Which of course I am trying to sort some things out, get some things a little smoother way. I can get some more content on this channel consistently as always. But I have had a lot more time lately because my girlfriend has been sick, so she's okay, but I haven't been able to go visit her. Actually, today marks 2 weeks since I've last seen her in person. The last time I saw her was Christmas Day. And I'm not going to be able to see her again until at least next Friday evening because tomorrow I leave for my business trip because I'm going to be out of town this coming week for work reasons. And I leave tomorrow evening. I have a direct flight that I have to catch tomorrow evening. But so I'm trying to at least get some stuff knocked down. I'm trying to finish up season 4 reviews of Seinfeld. I want to do my AEW stream. I do want to do a stream where I also talk about the releases announced this week. And I want to do one more stream. I'm trying to keep it too long, but I want to do it talking about why I think 2022 should be the year that WWE ends the brand split. So all that's coming, and I will try to also squeeze in another Harry Potter review if I had time. Oh, that's right. Tyler reminded me. I did a review of day 1. That's right. Thank you for the reminder, Tyler. I apologize completely. I completely forgot about that. But and he gave the show a B minus. Also, he gave it. But that's the plan for tonight. 3 possible streams, Seinfeld reviews, and maybe a Harry Potter gameplay also. I do have a little bit of time again. My flight is, I don't have to be at the airport tomorrow until about 3 o'clock tomorrow. My flight leaves at 4:55. So I do have time. Maybe I might be able to squeeze in some tomorrow in case I don't finish what I wanted to finish tonight. But I do also have to finish packing also for my trip as well. So, but after tonight and maybe during the day tomorrow, don't expect another stream maybe until at least next weekend. But again, if I get home, my girlfriend's fine, which she should be by then I'm definitely going to be spending a few days with her next week because I haven't seen her again since Christmas Day. Anyways, let's roll in and talk about Dynamite this week. As I said in the introduction, this was the TBS debut of AEW Dynamite. We had 3 championship matches. A first ever champion crowned, and new tag champs crowned. Unfortunately, though, we had an injury that happened, though, in that match also. But it was a pretty good show. I enjoyed it. We had another great CM Punk and MJF promo. We had a great opener for the world title again. Basically it, but let's just roll through it. Tonight is Battle of the Belts. I'm not going to watch that. I don't know. It seemed like it could be a solid show. Maybe I'll check it out, but it seems like it is what it is. I know Britt Baker's. I mean, it's pretty predictable for the most part. Britt Baker's probably going to retain over Rio. I heard that Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes are going to wrestle for the interim TNT title because apparently Cody Rhodes ain't medically cleared to compete. Not sure what's going on there. Hopefully Cody's okay. I'm not sure what else the match is, but we don't have a show is called Battle of the Belts. Yeah, you don't have your world champion. I thought it was weird. I thought they were going to save the rematch with Bryan and Hangman for that show. And we already had the tag titles this past week also, so I'm just like, what's the point? So it's like, I'm sure it's solid, but I'm not. I want to do other things. Um, I'm sure we're going to see other things. You know, come up in the future with it. But I wanted to focus on some other things tonight. Also, I duked it out with Mario Odyssey and took a nap for a couple hours, so that's why I got started a little bit later with my stuff that I wanted to. But anyways, I've talked 6 minutes already, and I've talked none about Dynamite yet. So let's roll into it. But yeah, he also doesn't think that Bryan isn't done with the world title, or is done. Now it's kind of where I hope, like, okay, this should be it, because Hangman did beat Bryan clean, in that opener match. But let's roll into that opener match and let's talk about it. So the opening match ended up being, for being the AEW World Title rematch between Hangman Adam Page and the American Dragon Bryan Danielson. This is, of course, the rematch since their first match that took place at Winter is Coming went to a draw with the 60-minute time limit. And it was an excellent 60-minute match. And we had a match here where the stipulation was that if it would go to a draw again, they had judges who would basically judge like whoever thought did better in that match, which I thought was just a weird concept, because then it's like you have to have this match go 60 minutes, or at least close to it, because if not, then what was the point? And then, well, also, like I said too, the only problem is Bryan Danielson has had 2 matches go to the time limit draw. I feel like with them doing like 2 like fairly quickly, like him and Kenny back in at AEW Grand Slam at Arthur Ashe Stadium, and then of course at Winter's Coming, it's like you can't do too many of those like so soon. I feel like, in my opinion, because yes, I get it. They want to make Bryan Danielson, of course, feel like he's as big of a name as he is, and like I said, I still personally feel Danielson is not there to win, not in AEW or wrestling around the world right now to win titles. He is there to simply just put on good wrestling matches. He's in the last 3 years of his wrestling contract, as he just declared a couple months ago. So he obviously just wants to wrestle the people he wants to wrestle to basically wrap up his career. This is like his farewell tour, basically. So like I said, he's basically like where Shawn Michaels was in the last years of his career. Not there to win titles, but he's just there to put on excellent wrestling matches. He will, of course, have some championship matches, maybe a championship reign here and there. Hangman, though, of course, is not the right person. But he's still not the person to be for Hangman to be dropping the belt to right now. He's not. I would say Hangman should drop it to either MJF, Cody Rhodes, if he would turn heel and admit he's a heel, or Adam Cole. Those are my ones right now. I think the 3 I would say Hangman should drop the belt to, in my personal opinion. But the judges were going to be Paul White, no BS, Jerry Lynn, and Mark Henry were the judges. I thought, though, Hangman and Danielson put on another excellent match. There was Orion on a moonsault that Danielson hit, but Page popped up and powerbombed Danielson into the apron, which was awesome. And there was Danielson had to sidestep him also out of the way to where Hangman had hurt his arm, and Danielson, of course, being the technician of a wrestler he is, worked on the arm very well. We had a nice suplex counter. We had some good near falls in there as well. There was some blood. There was the people busted open. There was a spot where Hangman went for the buckshot lariat, but then Danielson hit the running knee, or the Basaku knee, whatever the heck they actually call it, but it did not keep Hangman down. Danielson also snaps off a pile driver that that Hangman also kicked out of. Some power bomb counters, backdrop, and then Hangman finally beats Bryan by hitting the buckshot lariat. Danielson kept avoiding that buckshot lariat in their first match. I want to see something here. Match times. long did that match go for? That's just what I'm curious. I feel like it was like 40 minutes. Hold on, I'm trying to figure it. I'm trying to see here. I just want to try to figure. I'm just trying to figure this out. Ah, crap! I can't find it. But I'm curious. I feel like it was only like a 40-minute match. Which, okay, it was a longer match. It wasn't as long as I thought it should have gone to. Like with it, I knew this was probably going to open the show because I feel like if it closed the show, the suspense of it going 60 minutes could have been like very obvious as to how long this match would go for. So I don't know. I feel like they should have at least maybe had it come close to a little bit more closer to the 60 minutes. But if you take that out of there, another classic of a match. Like I said, these two, Danielson is just killing it. Again, he knows how to make his opponents look as good as they're supposed to look. I mean, obviously he wrestled Kenny Omega, who did need to prove that. Hangman Adam Page, though, who is not always had as big of like a resume of a history as Kenny Omega, though, is someone that, yes, he is world champion, yes, he's become main eventer, but he's also had a story he's proving that he belongs up at the top. The story with Danielson trying to expose the vulnerabilities of Hangman Adam Page, is an excellent way to put more sympathy on a babyface. Like I said, in a feud that was going to be face on face at first, Bryan Danielson basically stepped back and said, "Hey, I want to get the boos here. You get to get the cheers. I'll step back and be the heel in this one." And he did a good job with that. I mean, Tyler thinks that he's not done yet, which there could be another match. I don't know, but now I'm going to agree to as well. Like, yes, I will agree to yeah. I don't think there's a reason for Danielson to get another shot at the title. I mean, if they would do maybe like a triple threat with, let's say if Kenny Omega came back, which I don't think he's going to be back yet, I'd be all down for maybe a triple threat with Hangman, Omega, and Danielson. That'd be a pretty awesome match. But of course, Kenny, that's not guys that Hangman should be dropping the belt to. But I do like, again, also how I liked how, again, they had a clean victory here. But I don't know, the thing that the judge does to me was just seem weird. I feel like there should have been some other sort of like stipulation. I feel like they should have just done an Iron Man match. Just an Iron Man match, simply. Because even if it would have gone to the 60 minutes, sudden death. That's all I thought they could have done with it. But still an amazing match. But like I said, the stuff that the judges did, I thought was just a little bit weird. But that was a good way to open up the show. We have a promo with the Acclaim kind of promo on Darby Allin and Sting, saying they're not done with them yet, and they'll have a music video next week, whatever that is. Okay, then we have this. We're supposed to have a match with MJF and Shawn Dean. As soon as the bell rings, out came running CM Punk. He ran down to the ring. MJF rolls out of the ring and runs away. Punk just turns around, kicks Shawn Dean for the heck of it, hits a GTS. Shawn Dean is declared the winner by disqualification. MJF, technically, even though it was a DQ, has a losing record going into 2022. That is, how WWE has always overdone disqualifications and whatnot because it's just stupid, it's just a waste of time, it did nothing and wasted time. And it just feels like nothing important happens. Like, this is where you say this is a good disqualification. Because, Punk may say, he thinks him and MJF are done right now, but that's not the case. They're both obviously aiming for world title gold, but CM Punk is going to prevent MJF from getting a shot for the world title because he's going to basically give him the reasons to lose. He's going to help him lose and expose him to the fact that he is, he does not want to face Punk. And he's just going to, just again, anytime MJF has a match, Punk's going to interfere and cause a loss. But Punk and MJF then have some microphone time. Punk going to tell this will happen every match till he steps into the ring with him. And he calls him a little bitch also. MJF does some cheap heat, and Punk points out that he just lost, and fighting for the title is going to be real hard though if he keeps losing. MJF though says that every word that comes out of Punk's mouth is fake and induces boredom. And he tells Punk that he was done with this, and now he's right back where he started. And let me see here. I lost my place for a second. He was done with him, and he's right back where he started. And he might have these schmucks convinced he's a big deal, but he knows that the truth is that Punk is nothing without MJF. He put a chip on his shoulder, and that makes Punk relevant with this chip on his shoulder. Punk sold Tony Khan a bill of goods, and he's not the savior these people have been waiting for. But MJF is, and he thinks it's interesting that he has such a problem with him comparing himself to Roddy Piper. But does he think he's Roddy Piper? Unlike Punk, this is one of my favorite lines. Piper was actually talented enough to main event a WrestleMania. Oh! That's a good zinger right there. Of course, as we all know, Punk's biggest thing about WWE was the fact that he wanted the main event at WrestleMania. And again, because Punk had that drive that, he wanted to basically say, either I want to prove I'm the best, either you believe I'm the best, and if you don't believe I'm the best, let me go. That was his motto. He was driven to be the best, and that's why people got behind him. Meanwhile, in WWE anymore, nobody seems to be driven to be the best, so why even care? And when they're all so irrelevant and just pointless, you're not going to care. But a line like that, ooh, there's a lot of truth there. He then tells Punk if he's not shown the proper respect around here, maybe he'll main event a Mania 2. Just talking about himself. Punk says all he's trying to do is kick his ass so he will get in the ring, and he'll do it right here in Jersey. He runs. He hides behind FTR. And all he wants to give is the beating that MJF deserves. If he thinks the grass is greener, then he can go main event night 4 of a buy one, get one free Mania and get your ass released and come back, and he'll be right here waiting for you. Ho-ho! Another shot at WWE right there. Has to be a multi-night show because they overbook their shows and everything. And basically saying how, once they don't think you're good enough anymore, you'll be released and dropped right back here. Truth, truth, and truth. The truth shall set you free. Exactly. Just bold stuff there. But the MJF asks, everybody wants to see him fight Punk next week. Well, fine. Next week, it'll be CM Punk versus Wardlow. And of course, Punk is like, alright, fine. Give him the match. And, but keep in mind though, once he beats Wardlow, MJF's going to run out of people to eventually behind. And he will put him to sleep as well. Could this though be maybe where Wardlow finally turns on MJF? That could happen. That very well could happen. I think that would be a good way to enhance the storyline. Have this be the this match between CM Punk and Wardlow be where Wardlow turns on MJF. That's where I think it should happen. We'll see if that happens though. We also get a video package hyping up what was supposed to happen tonight. I battle the belts of Cody Rhodes defending his TNT title against Sammy Guevara. Of course, that is not going to happen now because Cody's not clear to compete. Chris Jericho comes out though for a promo. He says how history is for Dynamite debuting on TBS. Says he has been on TBS since April 7th, 1999. He lost to Booker T on WCW Thunder that night. It's great to be back though after 2.0 hit him in the face with a chair 6 weeks ago and put him down. And it took a while to get the cobwebs out of his head. He didn't return to save Eddie Kingston. He came back to take it to those 2.0 dipshits. Out came 2.0. They welcomed Jericho back, and Jericho just calls him for the heck of it Terrence and Phillip, which of course is just Jericho being Jericho. Matt Lee says he's a real funny guy and says he gave him a little bit of a taste of a steel chair. How did you like that? Jericho says he didn't like the taste, but he can't stop looking at Lee's square head. It's like a post-it note. Jeff Parker says, with all due respect, shut your mouth. Jericho calls him a pinhead. So I thought we were going to begin Pinhead Larry or something like that. But we got Pinhead and post-it note, or whatever he calls him. But they ask me what's another taste, and he goes and gets Floyd and offers to knock their heads off their shoulders. Floyd, his baseball bat. Out comes Daniel Garcia, and Jericho hits him with Floyd and 2.0 jump Jericho. Out came Santana and Ortiz, though, to make the save and runs them off. This is still probably set up for that match with Jericho and Kingston, which I think will be good once you guys... Again, the promo wars with Jericho and MJF, where, like the promo war with Punk and Kingston was good, and of course, a few other times. Let's see what Jericho and Kingston can do on the microphone. I'm still interested in that. We also get a recap of former NXT superstar, who I was interested in for sure, Jake Atlas, as he debuted on a recent episode of Dark. But Adam Cole starts hyping up a match with him and Atlas from this past week's episode of Rampage that's going to happen. And he's backstage. And Cole says that they had a great time back together last week, and knows that Kyle O'Reilly didn't mean to kick him in the face, and it was an accident. Still teasing, of course, whether or not him and O'Reilly are on the same page, of course. But the Young Bucks making a save was no accident, and he believes that with the Young Bucks, all 5 of them are stronger than ever. Cole then challenges Jake Atlas to a match on Rampage and offers him a one-way ticket back to Orlando to prove that he's still the guy. Another shot saying that he was going to kick him back to NXT. Yeah, Vince is not going to re-sign him because Vince didn't like him, unfortunately. Well, anybody Vince has been releasing lately, he just, it's all that bullcrap. Cleaning house, basically, is what he's doing before there's literally nobody left except for, 2 people that he absolutely loves. But we all know that. We're not going to keep going with that. Wardlow then squashes Antonio Zambrano. Sean Spears was doing his usual shtick. Like I said, next week when we get Wardlow and CM Punk, I think that should be where Wardlow turns on the pinnacle. I still think. We also have, apparently it's been going on I think Rampage, which I don't watch Rampage, but apparently there's been some stuff going on with Chris Statlander and Layla Hirsch, which is interesting. I definitely am interested in both of them. I've seen, some stuff, of course, with Chris Statlander, but I still haven't seen too much of Layla Hirsch. She'd be a good person to go after the TBS title, I'd say Layla Hirsch. But we'll see what goes on with that. Speaking of which, we have the finals of the TBS Championship Tournament. Ruby Soho versus Jade Cargill. Even though, of course, we did get a title change with the tag titles in the main event, I think they should have had this be the main event. The main event of the TBS debut with the TBS title. The match was decent. Of course, it was okay. I mean, it wasn't a big standout or anything. It was a decent match. I know probably the one who's a little more green than the other won, but she's still like a star being built up. Basically, it's still a good choice to be someone. There's some stars I feel like you could put the belt on them, and they could get built up from there. Jade Cargill, I believe, again, is undefeated. And yes, she still is, working through the kinks, but putting, the TBS title on her, I'm fine with that. I mean, yes, Ruby Soho was my pick to win. Now it looks like that they may be having Ruby Soho go after Britt Baker again. She was the number 1 contender when she first debuted at All Out and won the Casino Battle Royale. So I don't know if they're going to have Soho be the one to beat Baker, because I still feel like there's a story there with Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. And Thunder Rosa, I still think, should be the one to dethrone Britt Baker. But I say hold that off until Double or Nothing, because, like I said, I like to see Britt get a year-long reign. Again, Hikaru Shida's great, and I still think her feud with Serena Deeb has even made her better than she even was when she was champion. But if Hikaru Shida gets a year-long reign, Britt Baker should be getting a year-long reign also as well. So and the thing is, I would be okay with Ruby dethroning Britt, but like I said, like at least wait. I still feel there's a story though with Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. Again, Britt Baker is the reason why Thunder Rosa continued on the TBS title, because Britt knows if Thunder Rosa was not in the TBS title picture, then she would be going after her. Thunder Rosa still needs to be treated like the biggest threat to what's it called, to her championship. But getting back to this, like I said, the match is decent. Like I said, Jade Cargill, she's still a little bit green, but she has a record, she has a story. I think she's someone that could, benefit, even though she's not completely, seasoned out yet, from having like a belt like a TBS title. It's not like she has like the women's world, like the main title. She has like the mid card title for the women's division, which is fine. I feel like that's someone again who could, be built up with a mid card title, right? So I'm for that. Again, I like Jade. I mean, I definitely like Ruby better, but I like Jade. Mercedes Martinez did try getting involved in the match again, but I think Thunder Rosa came out to help out there. So again, there's this alliance there, but congratulations to Jade for sure. But I still think they should have had this be the main event, since it's the championship match of the network's championship on their debut show. They should have had that as the main event. Also, I gotta say too, I do personally think the TBS championship, I like the design much better than this egg of the women's world title. I don't know, I still think it's an ugly title. I still do, just my opinion. Then we have Jim Ross having a sit-down interview with Serena Deeb, who says she wanted to wrestle civil matches with Hikaru Shida, but she kept getting fluke victories. So now it's about hurting her and taking her spot on top of the women's division. She's not going to whine. She takes what she wants. So she went into Tony Khan's office and asked for another match. And she's going to take 7 years of anger and frustration out on Shida's ass. Not sure when that's going to be. Like I said, I do think these matches against Shida and Deeb have been good. I just still think that they mess up the story still because I still think they should have at least held off on giving a Shida that victory over Deeb, that 50th victory, because that's where the feud started. Is when Serena Deeb costed Shida her 50th victory and even broke the champion the plaque she was going to get for it. So I feel like they should have at least held off on that 50th victory, but can't take away the match has been good. Malachi Black then beat Brian Pillman Jr. in a pretty good match. Again, Pillman Jr. is still growing on me. Again, I definitely really, he definitely got my attention a little bit more when he had that mini thing with MJF after All Out going into Grand Slam. So he has some potential, but he's not beating Malachi Black. Black, though, wins. Afterwards, though, the Lucha Bros come up, make their entrance, but the lights go out, they come back on, and then the Lucha Bros are in the ring, and Black is on the ramp. And then the main event was Jurassic Express versus the Lucha Bros for the World Tag Titles. Another good match. The problem, though, only problem with this match, though, was there was a spot in the match where Luchasaurus went to do a choke slam on Rey Fenix through a table, and it broke Rey Fenix's arm. And Phoenix is going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. Ouch, that sucks. But Jurassic Express do win the titles. Definitely long overdue. I still say, though, especially, again, I love the Lucha Bros, don't get me wrong. And I'm glad they got a brief run with the titles. Let me be honest, though, and say that I think they should have kept the belts on the Young Bucks. The story was, was basically involving the Lucha Bros, Jurassic Express, and the Young Bucks. They had the history with them. And especially also since they brought in Adam Cole at All Out. Why did they drop the titles to the Lucha Bros that night? if you wanted to really make a statement and say how, like, the Elite is, the best thing, it is the best stable in the world or whatnot, where heck it was, why did they drop the titles there? I still think it was this. I mean, I know we've done Young Bucks and Jurassic Express on pay-per-view before. We did it at All Out 2020, which was, again, I still say probably AEW's weakest pay-per-view so far. But, they could have done this match again. The much more refreshed, whatnot. And again, Jungle Boy deserved a bone thrown to him. And he finally got it. But they get the victory. They're the new World Tag Champs. But I do hope that Rey Fenix, gets better soon. Christian Cage came out also to celebrate with them. But then we got all these other tag teams coming out on the ramp, basically saying, hey, we're still here. We had some people like Malachi Black and Chris Jericho who were sitting in the audience, eyeing it up and whatnot, watching it to celebrate as the show goes off the air. Also, there was a random blackout throughout the match. So I don't know if that was a tease of somebody coming. Like, I know some people say, because it seems like that because Malachi Black, he's being kind of a feud now with Pac, as he has sprayed some black mist in his eyes. So I don't know if that's a sign of, like, maybe because it seems like that Malachi Black's going to be starting a stable soon called the House of Black, and a lot of people say that Brody King's on his way. Basically, it's going to be part of the stable. So I don't know if that's tease of Brody King coming or what's going to happen. Actually, also, I forgot to mention this earlier. Malachi Black would also be someone else I would be cool with dethroning Hangman Adam Page eventually for his world title. But yeah, Jurassic Express win the tag titles, and yep, that's my review of Dynamite for the TBS debut. Really good show. I gave the B+. I nitpicked a couple of things there, yes, but it was an excellent debut and show. We have JR saying Triple H quits from his position at NXT, and he builds a new company who won the 5 guys on the current roster who are the free agents that he would bring with him. Oh, if he built a new company, I'd say he'd probably bring in Regal since he's got fired. Samoa Joe, no doubt about it, he would grab him. Karrion Kross, Johnny Gargano, Keith Lee, guess he would grab Ember also because she's out there. But and also fire Nick Khan. Yes, fire Nick Khan. That's for sure. Now apparently he's rumored to be the one taking over Vince whenever he steps down. At this point, I'm just saying WWE is a sinking ship, and basically they're gonna go when Vince goes, basically, because he can't have anybody making the company better than him, because he is just full of his ego. But guys, that was my thoughts on Dynamite. Gave it a B+. Again, I'm still trying to do Seinfeld reviews tonight. I will do a stream soon also tonight where I talk about the recent NXT releases that happened this week. And like I said, if I have time before I catch my flight tomorrow, I have one more stream I want to do. It's a couple, like, topic videos I want to do, like some bold predictions for 2022. But one I'm going to say for 2022, it should be the year that WWE drops the brand split. But guys, that's my thoughts on Dynamite. What were your thoughts on the TBS debut of AEW Dynamite? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content to my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirboy93. Till then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll see you all later. Have a great rest of your night. And peace out, everybody.